Hello, hello, hello. Hooligan Soccer podcast coming at you with myself, Gary Striker, and as always, the Qooligan on this Monday morning. Wow.
Who's
Qooligan
got two thumbs in the flu? This guy. But I so love the sport. I so love the game, and I so love all of the listeners out there that I have doused myself with medicines. I may make some crazy proclamations, and forgive me in advance, dear listeners, especially if I suddenly drift off into a thought bubble. But know that it's very clever in my own head, even if it doesn't come out my mouth very nice. So there you go.
I'll be here to shepherd you through and just keep you on track in a way, Qooligan, as well. So yes. Cool. Well, guys, as always, thank you very much for tuning in. As usual, hooligan-soccer.com is the best place to go and get the musings, ramblings, writings. We've got a whole bunch of creators and journalists and writers now beginning to come on board. Really interesting stuff. Traffic is picking up. Comments and all those kind of things are wonderful as well. So please join. We also have a merch store, which we will start putting out shortly as well. So you can start going and buying. Look at that like wonderful Hooligan Yeti that you have there, Qooligan. So all you super fans can go and also do the same thing as well.
I also have a T-shirt. I'm not wearing it today, but I do have a T-shirt as well. I will say that one did not come from the merch store. That one I did myself, but that it was an inspiration to.
It is now available in the merch store, and also as well, there's a cool hoodie, cool jumper, and a few hoodies as well. So you can go and check those things out as well. But we'll put them in the show links as well. Okay, so Qooligan, we are going to do a quick look back at this game week that's just finished in the Premier League. We're also going to touch on the EFL semi-finals that are going on this week, and also the transfer window is closed as well. So we've got quite a bit to discuss and get through.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's still open. It's open till midnight.
I was confused about this.
It's open till midnight GMT, or is it 7 p.m.? I can't remember, but it's one of those two.
It's the second. It's the second of February. It is still open as well, because I thought it was like actually hard.
No, it is still open until sometime today on the 2nd of February. By the way, happy Groundhog Day. Happy Groundhog Day to all those who celebrate, all the groundhoggers out there who are hanging out at Punxsutawney at Gobbler's Knob. Very good. If you see Bill Murray run, it's all.
If you hear Sonny and Cher in the background as well, just know that it's coming.
Know that we're in trouble. Know that we're in trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if across the nation, every radio station at least does play a little bit of Sonny and Cher on Groundhog Day, just for that reference. That's deep. That's well played. That's
a middle age for the younger viewers as well. Go and watch Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. Absolutely fantastic.
It's really quite good and held up pretty well, surprisingly.
Strangely enough, I started watching it the other day as well, and it's a classic. It really is.
It is.
Okay, speaking of classics, let's get into the games that happened this past weekend. I think let's just sort of touch on some of the interesting ones. Arsenal 4, Leeds 0, or Leeds 4 0.
Not a hell of a lot to say on that.
I mean, Arsenal just. I did say last time the W word and saying, there's a little bit of sort of questionable sort of, just are they sort of conceding a few too many goals? Now, admittedly, Leeds aren't the strongest opponent, but they dealt with business.
Coming into that game, they were on a strong run. They were on a 4 or 5 game undefeated run. It wasn't as if they I don't care. I mean, outside of Wolves and maybe Burnley, there are no teams that are absolute pushovers in the Premier League. At any time, a team can show up and be resilient and surprise you. So you should never go in assuming anything. And Arsenal didn't. They came in. They strutted in through the gates of Ellen Road. They strutted out through the gates of Ellen Road, and along the way, they pushed them. They enforced their will on Leeds, and that's what the champions do, right? Champions do that, and this win, coupled with some of the other results that we'll get to, are putting Arsenal in a much stronger position than they were, starting on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, it really is. What was interesting about that result is just the depth that Arsenal really are beginning to use the depth of their squad. They made 5 substitutions and basically sort of changed the whole front line. Just looking at it, they changed the whole front 4 of Gyökeres, Trossard, Havertz, and Madueke. I know Saka was there. Yeah, no, he's gone. His days are on.
No, Saka, he unfortunately had to drop out. And Madueke, I mean, talk about depth. Saka pulls up maybe 10 minutes before the game.
It was
pulls up lame, can't go on. And they're like, oh, you're in. And he goes, cool. And what does he do? Puts on an absolute show.
And scored his first goal as well, just as the
scored his first goal, got an assist. I mean, it's like became man of the match. Like that's what great players do when they are given that opportunity. When the door is open just a tiny bit, they shove their foot in and be like, right, my turn now.
Yeah, you can see the other interesting thing as well. I think what we're going to start to see, particularly as it's a World Cup year as well, suddenly these players who are on the fringes or aren't first team players are going to try and up their level as well and get noticed as well. But it does really speak. I mean, Arsenal changed their front line completely, their front four, and then brought on Odegaard, Jesus, Eze came on, Martinelli, and then also as well just to bring in that fifth defender, just to bring in that fifth sub as well. Then brought on Calafiori as well. So it's I think with that sort of results. Arsenal now, I think they're wildly clear. I think it's like 6-7 points now or something like that.
They're 6 points up, right? Yeah. They're 6 points up on City. We're going to talk about City because,
so
hello.
But Arsenal definitely dealt with business there. And now I think it's fair to say it is theirs to lose. I'm not saying it's nailed on and they're going to win it, but it is theirs to lose. And if they do, this will be nearly as big as the choke of Newcastle of 1995. If you remember, Newcastle were 12 points clear.
Wow.
Yeah, going deep as well. Yeah.
You're going real deep.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about Groundhog Day as well, we can go back into
the Newcastle choke. I mean, that's a tough one, man. I mean, normally you got to...
The choke of even in the noughties as well, which is there. But we'll sort of leave it at that before we start showing our real age. Okay, so Arsenal looking good. Wolves lost, surprisingly, shocking. I mean, they got their one win as well, so that's fine. But they're down. That's an easy game if you're going to play against Wolves. The game that I was watching with great interest and frustration in the first half was Chelsea-West Ham.
Yeah,
and I, for fear of being biased, I will acquiesce and let you share any thoughts here or sort of any insights here that you have.
Disclaimer:
on this one?
I did not watch this game because I was actually officiating. I had a game in the morning, so I did miss the Chelsea game. I have a lot to say on the Liverpool game though, because I did manage to watch that one. I got to I was home in enough time for that. But everything that I have read about this game, and I read quite a bit because it seemed like it was a monumental turnaround, was that Chelsea were really not good. They didn't look great in the first half, and their new manager, Mr. Liam Rosenoir, completely did a masterclass and shifted everything around. And boom, they did it. They pulled it out, right? And if I'm not mistaken, there was a clutch goal, right? Wasn't there a clutch goal in this one?
I mean, it depends on your definition of clutch. It definitely was a smooth goal. It wasn't a wonder goal. It wasn't a bang of the week.
A clutch goal, by my definition, just a clutch goal is a goal that is scored in the final 10 minutes.
Oh wow! That's the official
final
time,
10 minutes of the final 10 minutes of a game that, and this is key, impacts the result of the game.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you're up 3-0 and you score, ain't clutch. Okay, if you are tied and you score the winner, that's clutch. If you are down and you score the equalizer, that's clutch. If you're up by 1-0 and you score the second goal, that's clutch because all of a sudden it releases the pressure. Those are my definitions of clutch. Enzo Fernandez got a clutch goal.
He got a clutch goal. He did.
100%.
Yeah, he did, and it was his 150th appearance. Yeah, it was a game of it was a game of two halves. It really was a game of two halves where but Rossini is going to come out of this looking like a sort of a tactician, a sort of master tactician. And because he did the same thing against Napoli in the Champions League where they were down and they came back up and they brought it around. And you can make that argument. And yes, he probably is. However, there is a big however here, which I'm still yet to be convinced on. And I'm not taking credit for this. I think it was one of the writers on one of the podcasts that I listened to as well. I think it was Martin Samuel said this as well. He's there's a Sky podcast called The Sunday Supplement, and he quoted Homer Simpson very, very well, which is in reference to alcohol, which is it is the cause of all my problems, but also the solution to all of my problems. And I think that was very, very apt and very poignant because Rossini's starting lineup for Chelsea, you can understand why he did it. He played a bunch of kids, right? Just looking at the starting lineup they had, like Badiashile was in sort of in defense, which was he just showed himself not to be sort of relevant. Hasso didn't look very good, and my God, Alejandro Garnacho, oh my God, he is the most frustrating player to watch as well, because you see he has the ability and has the potential, but he just didn't run. And then at halftime, I think we were messaging about this, how they didn't have Rebecca Lowe in the studio on MSNBC because the Winter Olympics are going to start. So they're probably all in Cortina and Milan getting ready for the Winter Olympics to cover it. So they used the Sky Studios, and they had Graham Lasso and Lee Dixon speaking with, I think it's John Champion in there. And they basically said, like, Garnacho, if I was in that team, I would be screaming at him at halftime, and I'd be telling the managers to get him off, because he just didn't run. He didn't track back. And the 2 goals that West Ham did score were directly at the fault because of Garnacho. He either gave the ball away or wasn't tracking his runner. So what was interesting is Rossinha then, there's also another meme on the sort of online that I saw, which was quite funny, which is Rossinha had his white pen and paper out and he's writing, and it said, now you know you're in trouble because Rossinha is doing his thing. Right. And he did, and they made one substitution early on, because I think, who was it? There was a Gittins got injured, so then they brought on Neto, and then he made 3 changes at halftime, which was just absolutely inspired. All 3 of them had an impact. Cucurella scored. João Pedro, oh my God, 4 or 5 games ago,
that guy's he is.
4 or 5 games ago, I'd fallen out of love with João Pedro. I first saw him at the Fluminense game in the Club World Cup, and I know. Fickle. We are fickle, but I first saw João Pedro and fell in love with him in New Jersey when I was at that Fluminense game at the Club World Cup, and I was just behind him when he scored that absolute banger against his old club in off the post, and then he just kind of didn't seem to do anything. But under Rossinha, he just suddenly looks more dynamic. He looks like he's running sort of directly, and he's getting goals, and wonder goals and assists as well. So he got the goal and the assist, and then Enzo Fernandez with his clutch goal as well, and it was well worked and well deserved, and you could just feel the momentum going as well. So there is some magic bubbling away at Chelsea at the moment. We shall see if that continues on against Arsenal tomorrow, and if they can go and sort of turn that 2-1, that 3-2 defense
that's
down.
A tough ask. I'll tell you this though: if Chelsea can defeat the Arsenal in the Carabao Cup,
Rossinha's proved himself. Yep.
After being down 3-2. Right. And in the Emirates, yes, I'd say that all those Chelsea people who have any doubts about Rossinha or Rosenoir, shut your mouth. Shut it.
Yeah.
Stay quiet for a few days. Look in the mirror and ask yourself some serious questions. And then come back out. You know, and
come back and think
open the discussion, because that would be one hell of a turnaround.
It was the second half, as I say, was completely different from the first half. But again, so part of the problem was he played the B team, or sort of played the ones that didn't play in Napoli. I understand rotation, resting players. There's a whole many games coming up. But as I say, I think that was the cause of the problem, was not playing your A team. Starting Alejandro Garnacho as well was a big problem. He needs to really also, he's the one who needs to look himself in the mirror and say, do I want to go to the World Cup and play? Because if he performs like that, he ain't starting. He probably ain't even getting picked. But it was a wonderful second half. And when that goal went in, it was here at the Striker household. There were screams and there were fist pumps and lots of excitement and very good. Yeah.
And speaking of people who are making a case for the World Cup, Hugo Ekitike. Listen, I feel really bad for Didier Deschamps, the France manager, because how in the hell is he going to pick his offensive line for the World Cup?
Champagne problems, hey?
He has got, a half dozen world-class folks to pick from.
So who have France got up front? There's Mbappe, of course, Alpha Dog. He's going to be there. There's Doué. Dembele, Dembele, Golden Ball winner, Ballon d'Or winner.
Hugo Ekitike. Those are 4 strikers right there. And now, admittedly, Mbappe can play in various other positions.
They can play.
You could put him in a wing or other things. Ekitike doesn't. He's a stand-up, right?
Olise.
Well, Olise is, again, he's a winger, so he's going to be fine. I think Olise's safe. I think Mbappe's safe. Yeah. But then you've got, and then Dembele, Doué, Ekitike. Bakala. One could even argue Jean-Philippe Mateta, only because he plays a very stagnant 9 role, right? Which is different from all the other players, which can be useful because there is a fondness. He plays the Olivier Giroud.
That's exactly where I was going as well. They won the World Cup. He didn't score a goal, but he started every game with the World Cup in that.
Because he's a distraction.
He's a straw man.
He creates lanes. Mm-hmm. And when you've got people like Olise and Mbappe and stuff on the outside, those lanes become freeways to score goals. And so, that is, you use him more as a distraction. And so, I mean, what a nightmare poor Didier has, because he's going to make a lot of people angry, and the French press are going to have a field day with him. Now, that aside, let's talk about Liverpool, because this was a case of not two halves, but really a third and two-thirds, right? Because Newcastle was absolutely railroading Liverpool in the first 30, 35 minutes. And that led to Anthony Gordon's 36th minute goal. They were just having their way with them, pushing them around, creating opportunities, creating chances, and then Gordon goes in, does a nice finish. That's great. And then something happened in Liverpool that I haven't seen too much, and that was they suddenly switched on. And really what I'm saying is Ekitike switched on. But it's not just about one person, right? He completely flipped everything around. He worked with Florian Wirtz really well. And Florian Wirtz is suddenly looking the business.
That's good. Looks really good.
I mean, right? Yep. I'm expecting to see him in World Cup. He could be there. Right?
No, he'll be there. If he plays like that, he
absolutely.
will be.
So it's like, I mean, the way that he's coming into form right now, exactly when you want him to. And so and then after Anthony Gordon scored, there was no Newcastle. It was all Liverpool after that.
It turned around, yeah.
And then, of course, you had the whole, the emotional high of Konate scoring.
That was,
his father died. He went to the funeral. He came back early because he wanted to play.
That's,
according to reports, and he scored. And he doesn't score often. I mean, to the point where I think it's been years since he last scored for Liverpool. And I don't think he's ever scored in the Premier League proper. If he hasn't, it's been for a very long time. He's always scored in other competitions, but not actually in the league. So good on you. A dominant performance from Liverpool. They looked really good against, a Newcastle team that we know can play because they've done it inside the Champions League, but they always seem to not be able to do it in the league. And of course, that's why they're languishing where they are.
This is also with Newcastle, just on that. This is the second season now, again, where they're kind of having that second season syndrome where they get into the Champions League and then sort of struggle in the league and don't qualify for the Champions League. So
is it second season syndrome? This is just Newcastle.
Well,
it's just Newcastle in a nutshell.
Or alternate. It's on-off season. They're having a season where they're on and then they go into the Champions League and then in the league they're off and they don't do it. So, they are not
AKA Newcastle.
Newcastle. This is true. This is true. No, Liverpool did look very, very good, and that was a really, really good game. But Ekitike, he was absolutely electric as well. There was I saw one of the clips where he got interviewed by Steven Gerrard afterwards on some of the English TV stations, and Steven Gerrard said, "You remind me of Fernando Torres," and like Fernando Torres in his prime was ruthless and efficient, and he looks very good, and he's been good all season. He's been their best signing this season for sure.
No, and that second goal that he scored was wow, I mean, you could technically Kirkes gets the assist, but I mean, really, Kirkes just passed the ball into space, and then Ekitike did everything.
It did all carry.
He does that. He gets in that one-on-one with that defender. He takes that very subtle pause, right, as if he's going to try and go, cut to the inside. The defender gives him a split second, and he is off.
He's gone. Yep, he's gone. Yeah,
and then with that little right toe, right.
Just that little toe poke in the
right
corner
into that
as well.
Corner.
Beautiful.
Devastating.
Beautiful.
Devastating.
Very good. Yeah. So Liverpool, I wouldn't say back in form, but definitely sort of saving Arne Slot's ass for sure, because the pressure was beginning to mount, and the rumours, as we keep hearing, of Alonso sort of making eyes at Liverpool and making eyes. We'll see. I think what is interesting as well is, I was looking at this, there is a possibility, depending on the rankings, and again, this is like where you get into like European UEFA coefficients about whether there are 4 teams or 5 teams from the Premier League who qualify for the Champions League next season. That's still to be determined. And then also there's another potential opportunity here, which is Aston Villa, because they're in the Europa League. If they win the Europa League, they get an automatic slot in the Champions League. So if that does happen, you could have a world where you have, and then so if Villa finish outside the top 5 and win the Europa League, they can then go into the Champions League and potentially you'll have 6 teams. So there is a world in which, top 5 actually gets Champions League here. So Liverpool
actually,
is still very
by
much in the
that
hunt.
math, you can have 6, you can have 7
Where could the seventh be? Who could
you
the
have
seventh
five
spot?
that go in. You have
league?
6.
Yeah,
you have 5 that go in through league, and then you have the Europa League champions.
Yeah, but then Villa would have to finish outside the top 5 to sort of make that option.
No. It moves down.
Oh, do they bump it down? Do they?
I believe it bumps down. Yes,
okay,
it's not a.
Right.
I don't think it's a one or the other. It is a.
Okay.
It is a stagger system. So
so you need favors to happen while you
correct, because that was the same thing that
yeah.
happened last year with all the qualifications for everything. It kept moving down. If you
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Liverpool looked really good as well, which was good to see. Villa, we'll just touch on them. I know we did, losing to Brentford. I mean, I have to say this one's been coming. I know Villa are beginning to stumble just a little bit. Suddenly the form is getting a little bit, win, draw, lose, win, lose has been their form. Again, they've been so good for the whole season.
Very Villa, though. Again, very Villa. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this is also where you're beginning to see the strain taking in. This is where the lactic acid is in the sort of race is beginning to kick in and see who's got it. Villa obviously fighting, and again, playing Thursday, Sunday. It's not easy. It's not easy with that. And so that, again, that distractions as well. But they've really overperformed in my eyes. And hopefully they don't have a sort of catastrophic meltdown. The other game that went on,
I do want to at least give Brentford props, because they had a guy sent off in the 42nd minute.
Yeah, they did do it with 10 men.
And then while down, got the winning goal, right, in the first minute of stoppage time. Yeah, in the first half, and then held on. I mean, that's good grit. Good grit from them.
That's Brentford in 7th place as well. They'll be sniffing that and saying, look, they're only 3 points behind 6th place as well. So they'll say, hey, look, isn't it funny how Thomas Frank is left there and we're like, oh, Brentford are absolutely screwed. They're going to get gutted. And it's a funny old game, isn't it?
I was one of those people saying that. Yeah. I didn't think Brentford. I was actually looking at them as a possible relegation candidate. And happy to say I was wrong.
Yeah. I had Manchester United down as a relegation candidate, but my goodness, how they've turned that around, hey? I mean, compared to where they finished last season.
Well, I'm not happy to say you were wrong, but I'm always happy to say that you're wrong. But I'm not happy in this particular context because, yes, it's. But no, what happened inside that match? What happened with that Manchester United Fulham game was bizarre.
Yes,
absolutely, 100% bizarre, and. I've had this feeling for quite some time that Fulham have to be one of the unluckiest teams in the league right now. They did not play poorly in this game. And still, they just had that one moment where Sesko was able, I mean, poor Sesko, the entire time he's been at Manchester United, he would have completely shanked that shot. All right.
Under Amorim, he would have missed that.
Under any circumstances, I'd say that maybe there was a 90% chance that he shanks that thing. But instead, he actually hit it perfectly and it goes in. That's just so unlucky for Fulham, especially after getting, that big uplift with Kevin's, clutch goal in the first minute of stoppage time.
They thought it was clutch. They thought it was clutch, and it turned out not
still
to be,
a clutch goal because it equalized. Okay. Just because they end up losing doesn't take away the clutchness of the first goal.
It
just means that there was a second clutch goal that unclutched it. That's all.
He dropped a clutch. Yeah. No, Manu. Carrick has done wonders there again. I feel again, Manu have kind of backed themselves into corner here. They're going to have to give him that job if he carries on like this and qualify, gets top 5.
And as much as I hate to say it, Casemiro has been doing really well. So he announces he's leaving and all of a sudden says, crap, now I've got to play if I want to get picked up somewhere else. And so he suddenly found his desire again.
World Cup year as well. Look at that. Another example. World Cup year.
Surprise, right?
Yeah, there we go. It's funny when there's sufficient incentive, and it's not money, is it? It's performing on the biggest stage for these guys, hey?
Sure.
All right. Do we want to talk about Crystal Palace or do we want to gloss over that one? I mean,
look,
I feel for you, Qooligan. I feel for you because 6 months ago
I'm gonna be I'm gonna feel very, very. I can be very honest about this. I was very disappointed that we didn't win that game, but I was so extraordinarily relieved that we didn't lose that game.
Yes,
I'm not gonna say that a draw was acceptable because it wasn't. They were up for an entire half with an extra man. And they couldn't get the business done. And to be fair, Nottingham Forest looked almost more dangerous in the second half than Palace ever did. Yep. So I'm not happy about that. But by God, at least they didn't lose.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to take the 1 point, take a breath, and go on to the next week, because right now it's all about what are we going to do the next week. It's just we're in survival mode. This is a very, very familiar position for all Crystal Palace fans.
But it's what's so strange, though, is, again, pre-Christmas, before the Crucible, Crystal Palace had some of the best form and one of the best defenses in the entire league, right? And they have just kept, I'm not going to say capitulated, but imploded would probably be a more appropriate term. And I do feel for you, Qooligan, because you're in Europe, you got the FA Cup.
There was injury, there was asset stripping, and there is also, for the people who are even remaining, what's their desire? Remember, Mateta didn't even travel to Forest because he's, apparently trying to go to AC Milan. Now, the rumors now is it's not going to happen.
He's failed his they failed his medical. Yeah, apparently that's what I saw. Yeah.
So then what happens with Mateta? All of a sudden you've got a lame duck.
No, but he's got a World Cup year.
Play. I mean,
he has to, but he wants to go to the World Cup, so he will play.
Well, that is true. That is true. Yep. And so, but still, it's a tough place. It's a tough place to be.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's move on. There's a lot more we can unpack about Palace.
Now, Spurs surprised me. I had this game on in the background before I went out to go and do my Sunday sports duties. And I saw Man U 2-0 up and I was like, okay, well, that's it. Man U've got it. And then I looked at the result and I was like, wait, how the fuck did Spurs end up coming back into that one and getting a draw?
Apparently it was all Dominic Solanke.
Solanke, again, I admittedly wrote a very scathing article about Solanke when they signed him. I was like, this is not a striker that's worth, I think they paid like $60 million for him as well. But that scorpion kick was an absolute banger, which was wonderful to see. But again, I don't think this is probably the making of Spurs doing so well. It's how the hell, once again, did Man City
this is about City's capitulate. This is about City's
That's
weakness,
a capitulation,
not Spurs' strength. No, I would agree with that. This is
and now
the storyline is that's the storyline.
And they had Gay. Did the Gay started? I think Gay did start.
He did, and there was an incident in the first goal that was very controversial. In which the Gahey is in his own box defending, and the Tottenham Spurs striker kicked him in the back of the leg. The ball then went through him and was kicked in by Solanke. And I believe there is a fair point that Pep made, which is they should have reviewed that in VAR and they should have canceled the goal. Yeah. If a defender does that to a striker, it's a penalty kick 100% of the time. So why is it not cause for a reversal of a goal if it's the inverse?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm saying it is a very, very fair point and a question that one should ask.
Yeah. But still... But how, when you've signed...
But then again, blaming the referees for something like that is also weak sauce.
Exactly. But especially when you've just signed Gary, and you have... And the one interesting thing for me is Donnarumma. I thought when they signed Donnarumma, every time I've watched Donnarumma prior to him going to Man City, was always in Champions League and Euros and World Cups as well. And he was an absolute monster, and he is an absolute monster.
Yeah, he's a big game player.
But
I don't think he is your week over week... Listen, Dean Henderson for Crystal Palace is a week-over-week insane goalkeeper. He makes dumbass saves that he shouldn't be doing and keeps his team in the mix, right? There's a number of goalkeepers in the Premier League who play for mediocre, mid-table, lower-table teams that do that week over week. They keep they at least give their team something. Donnarumma, not so much.
I think you're right there, Qooligan. He does the big games, he steps up and he performs. But when you're sort of, away games to Spurs, he's not there. And looking at it now, you can understand why Luis Enrique and PSG cut him and said, actually, you know what, you're free to go. Off you go. We don't need you anymore. We'll go another way. Yeah. And take the money for it. And that's it. So, Now, just looking at it on the sort of macro level, who then is going to mount the challenge against Arsenal? Because it was only coming from City and Villa, and both with a draw and a loss this weekend, and obviously real daylight now forming between them. I don't. Again, this I know we mentioned this before, but I don't know where the threat comes from.
There is only one team that can beat Arsenal. Arsenal.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, it's an imposition style. Right?
It is not. It is not an occasion of another team stepping up. Although there's still enough games left that yes, it could happen. But it's going to happen in conjunction. No matter, even if City suddenly goes on a tear, wins every game.
Yeah.
Even if Aston Villa goes on a tear, wins every game.
Yeah.
Nothing can happen without Arsenal doing something and sabotaging themselves.
Yeah,
that's
this is true.
Only way.
Yeah,
that they will lose the crown, because they're in the driver's seat. They have the control, so they just have to not bottle it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Okay, so that brings up that then there's a game later on today. We've got Sunderland against Burnley. That's a bit of a nothing burger, to be honest. I mean,
it is. Well, it's big for Sunderland. I want to make sure that people understand. It's actually big for Sunderland because the way the tables are right now, the middle of the table is extraordinarily
tight. It's tight.
Sunderland could actually go from 12th place
to 7th.
They could go from 12th place to 8th place.
Yeah.
With a win. That's I mean, that's a big leap. And so, it matters to them. So, 11th, they'll go 11th to 8th. It's still big.
Yeah.
Big
that's
move,
big.
right?
And they'll be in the mix as well. And and then behind Brentford and then knocking on the door. And again, they've also been sort of, been a surprising sort of revelation this season for sure. Okay. So then going forward, then this game week, we have the EFL2, EFL semi-finals. You've got Chelsea against Man City tomorrow. And then you've got Newcastle, Arsenal, Arsenal hosting Newcastle.
No. Let's try that again. You have Arsenal hosting Chelsea. And you have Manchester City hosting Newcastle.
Okay, maybe I'm
so Arsenal has a 3-2 aggregate over Chelsea, and they're playing at the Emirates. That's what we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
If Rossinier can flip them around and end up winning this one, he will be deified at the end of the game, and there will be a statue at some point. I think Arsenal can control this one and be and win it. The City Newcastle is a little bit more interesting because they have a 2-0 win. By any other measure, a City team within the last 12 years, this would have been a non-starter. It was they would win.
We'll steamroll them. Yeah.
That is not the case right now. So and especially against a Newcastle team that has the ability to shock and awe. So, I mean, by all means, watch this game, ladies and gentlemen, because I think this could be an absolute cracker. Because if they're at home, and if the Etihad gets upset, if Newcastle can get an early goal or two, snap! Watch out!
They'll get.
It could get real interesting and touchy. So, I'd say, I'm not predicting anything because I think City will take it. I really do think City will take it.
They've got the advantage as well, but again,
100%.
As we said, they are frail at the back, and
but they're
frail. Can be got at. Yeah,
they're
frail. Can be got at for sure. Yeah.
So
wonderful, Qooligan. And then just any final messages or thoughts on the transfer window, which is wrapping up, because it does feel like it's been quiet.
It's been a bit meh. I mean, there've been a couple of high level ones. I don't really have that much. I was going back through my transfer tracker trying to find some juicy nuggets that might be interesting. And you know what? There's just not a lot there. There's you have announced a couple of interesting theories on the Tammy Abraham move, which I will say, ladies and gentlemen, just go on to the hooligan-soccer.com site. You'll be able to see that will publish shortly. So
that's a funny one. Hey, this is Abraham.
Yes,
he's a Roma.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Okay.
Just say it's very interesting. And remember, if
something
anything
is afoot.
Yes, something is afoot. And if anybody is offended, Gary Striker wrote the article, ladies and gentlemen, not the Qooligan.
This is true. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that brings us up on time. We're ready there. So, Qooligan, as always, good to chat with you. We will be back later on this week when we'll do the game week coming up, and we'll probably be posting another episode on Thursday. But as always, hooligan-soccer.com. Go check it out. And until then, next time, speak to you later.
Peace.